to buy a new truck.
So we decided to buy a new truck. We have, I guess, a couple of reasons that we were looking for a new truck, or started to look for a new truck.
We have a couple of reasons for doing so. First, we wanted comfort in the new truck.
Right now, we tow our Basecamp with either our 4Runner or our Tacoma.
We both drive smaller vehicles, and so we wanted something a little bit bigger. We now have 3 dogs, so we wanted something that would have a little bit more space for the dogs, as well as the comfort of pulling the Basecamp. While both of our vehicles on paper are very capable of pulling the Basecamp, a little bit bigger engine would allow us to pull through the mountains and high grades and that kind of stuff a little bit easier.
Certainly when you hit a hill, you know it. There's very little power with the trucks that we have. For longer road trips, they may not have, the comfort level exactly that we want, but they've worked. I mean, we took the 4Runner on probably a 600-mile drive.
Eventually, we would like to upgrade our trailer. So just going to a full-size truck will allow us to take that step now, so that when we do decide in the coming years to get a little bit bigger trailer, we will already have the truck and we don't have to go through both of the expenses at the same time.
Towing something larger is not something that's going to happen super quick here, but it was on our list of things that a new truck must have, is the ability to tow a larger trailer that we've talked about and want to get at some point in the future here.
Our last reason for buying a truck was a little bit better gas mileage. So Nick and I's trucks both I get probably about 18 on the highway right now, and then I think his is a little bit less. And with the full-size trucks and the engines that they're putting in and the gas savings that they're doing, they're actually getting way better gas mileage than both of our vehicles are getting. With a bigger truck, this will allow us to tow more comfortably, fit the dogs more comfortably, and get a little bit better gas mileage on the road.
So Emily and I sat down, we made a list of all the things that were must-haves on the trailer. And as we got looking at vehicles, we also found some wants along the way as well. And so must-haves are, it must have, the towing capability that we want. So as we were looking at them, we may look at like we'll get into it in a minute, but we may look at a Chevy and the dealer tells us, oh, this is only capable, because it's a small motor, it's only capable of towing 6,000 pounds. That's not necessarily what we want. It's still what we test drove because it's what's available to test drive. But the idea there was to get an idea of, do we like the comfort level of the vehicle itself? Do we like the way it drives? These are bigger than what we're used to driving, so we wanted to have some level of comfort in how they drove. So I'm going to look at a list here, but what was on our list of must-haves? So number 1, it must be able to tow the Basecamp, but more importantly, had to be able to tow up to about 8,000 pounds or have an number 2, we needed a large back seat.
So comfort for ourselves, comfort for the dogs as well. So we wanted something that would allow the dogs to be able to sit in the back seat with the seats folded up, so not on the seat, but in that back seat area, and give them space to move around. And so that was one of the must-haves.
The 4Runner tends to be our go-to vehicle for travel with the dogs because it has this, huge space for the dogs. We wanted to make sure they had space to sit, lay down, move around a little bit. So that was part of the must-have list, was a large back seat. Number 3 is it had to be 4-wheel drive. This is one of those, my brother and I talked about this, a decade ago. And 4-wheel drive is one of those things that you look at and you go, I don't need 4-wheel drive, so I'm not going to get 4-wheel drive. But for it, once you get to a point where you need it, you'll have wished you had paid for it. So while 4-wheel drive, I'll use my Tacoma as a for instance. I use 4-wheel drive maybe for 2 days a year, 3 days a year. But on those 2 or 3 days a year where I use it, it's a necessary thing, and so not having it would make things a challenge. Are we going to go off-road this vehicle like we've done with the Jeep in the past, or even the Tacoma right now? Probably not. We may do some off-road easy trails, but I'm not going to go lift this thing. We're not going to, put that kind of work into it like we've done in the past. What we're going to do is have a comfortable vehicle that is capable of driving down a dirt road or some, slightly more challenging trail to be able to get where we want to get. Number 4, and this is a weird must-have. It probably is more suited for a want list.
So I have a moonroof in my vehicle. Nick does not, but we really like having that visibility and having the natural light coming in while driving and on long trips, and the ability to open it up on the really nice days to get the fresh air flowing through the vehicle.
Number 5 on our must-have list had to have wireless Apple CarPlay.
So the next kind of goes into the entertainment system part of it. We wanted something with a larger screen. Both Nick and I have changed out our radio heads in our vehicles so that we can have CarPlay, but we wanted a nice big screen to be able to see everything. So that was something else, the big entertainment screen, as well as the capability for wireless CarPlay.
And what's nice about that is you step in the vehicle, it's immediately connected. You don't have to plug it in. It doesn't have to be charging all the time, which we think is really nice because your phone can just stay in your pocket and it automatically connects.
All right, moving on to more of our wants side. So stuff that was a little less important to us, but things that we still had on our checklist when we were looking at the different vehicles. One of the things that we really wanted was an integrated brake controller system.
This is important to us because it's something that is great to have kind of pre-installed, part of the vehicle. But it's not a must-have because it's very easy to add a brake controller to the vehicle. So it's a want, but not a must.
The next thing on our wants list was the programmable seat positions. We do swap off quite frequently. We do about a 50-50 split on the driving. So it is really nice to get into a vehicle and have your own seat position where you want it.
In at least one instance, it actually does it by key fob. So if I'm carrying my key fob and get in the vehicle, it'll just set everything to that key fob, which is my settings. And then if Emily were to get in with her key fob, it would do the same thing for her settings. And then in, I believe, 3 scenarios, it's a minimum of the 3 of the scenarios. There's actually a way to move the pedals. So there's a setting to move the pedals in and out, which is really good because I think in a lot of cases, I have relatively short legs. Emily has short legs. It's nice to be able to sit further back from the steering wheel, which is dictated by how close you are to the pedals.
The next thing that was pretty important to us was the trailer backup assist. Both of us actually do fairly well with backing up the trailer. We've had practice over the last 4 years doing so. We've gotten really good at communicating with one another and backing up the trailer, so we talk in terms of passenger side and driver's side and that kind of stuff.
So not a must because we know how to back up a trailer, but a want because we think it might create some ease of use scenarios for us. The last thing on the wants but not must list for me at least, and I'm sure Emily will agree or disagree with this. I'll let her do this as well, was driver assist features. So my Tacoma has adaptive cruise control, which I love. I can set it to 65 if the person in front of me slows down, my truck slows down. If they speed up, it speeds up until I hit 65. But I really like the idea of some of the Tesla features, which kind of drives the vehicle for you. So you essentially set your cruise control, you set your lane, and then the truck will do its thing. Having
those lane assist and that kind of stuff was pretty important, that we do have those safety features, as well as the capability in the future to have the self-driving. We did want that, as well as the adaptive cruise and the lane change and that kind of stuff, the additional safety features as part of the package. So we have been looking at new trucks for about 3 or 4 months. I believe we started sometime in mid-March or early April, just starting to see what's out there. Stocking levels were obviously very low. We did look at Chevy, Dodge, Ford, and Toyota. Both of us really like Toyota because we've both driven Toyota for a really long time. We did decide to really try and look at this from a clear perspective and a new perspective, and really look to see what truck is truly going to fit our needs.
We definitely favor the Toyota, and I think as we do our test drives, you'll see some of that favor coming through. This is really just, we've decided to get it, and what we looked at and what those test drives looked like. We're gonna go into the test drives. We're gonna talk about what the trucks had and what they didn't have. Keep in mind that it's what we've been able to find through our research, which we've done over the last, I'm gonna call it 5-6 months, as well as what the salesmen at the dealerships have told us. If you disagree or see something that maybe we've said wrong, comment below, tell us, and we'll keep that in consideration. As of the recording of this video, we have not purchased a vehicle yet.
Correct. All right, let's go drive some trucks. So first up, Chevy GMC. We put it in the same category because they're very, very similar. We originally went and looked at a Chevy, but then when we test drove, we actually test drove a GMC.
And yeah, one of the reasons for that was when we looked at Chevy, they didn't have the 2022 model year. All they had was the 2022 Limited, which was the 2021 rebranded as 2022. When we went back, GMC actually had the 2022 on the lot.
All right, so for the towing capacity, it did meet it, but we had to get it in the V8, not the V6. Back seat was storage. The seats folded up, and in the GMC they did have a storage compartment which was actually removable, so you could have a flat ground.
But permanently removable. You'd have to take the whole thing out of the vehicle.
Correct.
It wasn't like a fold down or anything.
Yep. They had the 4x4.
Yep. 4-wheel drive. Not that I've seen anyway, but again, this is something we could be wrong on. They GMC did not have like a multi-terrain select, but they do have 4-wheel drive.
The moonroof, they did have a moonroof as an option. The one that we drove did not have it. We could see an indentation of where it would be. It looked small. We were looking more for the panorama, but it did check the box of having moonroof.
For the infotainment or the entertainment system, it does have wireless CarPlay. GMC's got this weird, or GM has this weird, I'm gonna call it landscape screen. So most of them either have like a landscape screen or a portrait screen. In the case of the GM landscape screen, it's actually really long. So it has the screen that we're looking for. It has wireless CarPlay. The screen's a little weird where you have to kind of reach for it from the driver's seat.
It's almost like comparison from like a panorama picture to like a landscape portrait.
Correct,
picture.
Yeah. That's a fair way of looking at it. GM does have, the GMC has the power rear window. It's a small box cutout.
It had the integrated brake controller, which we liked, as well as 2 memory seats. They only controlled the seats and the mirrors, and then you can attach it to a key fob. So if we each have our own key fob, whoever unlocks the door, it would set to that person's memory settings.
Yeah, I feel like I'm talking about the negatives, but...
You just drew the wrong number.
Yeah, apparently. The GM does not have a trailer backup assist that we're aware of. Can't find it on their website, can't find it when we were talking to them or in the vehicles. So it's on their want category. It's not a must-have, but they did not have it.
The driver assist features, it did have the adaptive cruise and lane keep assist, but it doesn't have the ability for self-drive. When we asked the salesman, he said that there was no intention of putting self-drive in the vehicles, but we do know that other GM brands do have the self-driving capability that they are developing. So as of right now, it didn't sound like the truck was getting it anytime soon, but who knows if they push that forward later on.
Yeah, it could be at the end of the model year they have it there. So we know Cadillac, for instance, does have self-driving feature. Not only that, but I believe that the Cadillac version works with towing. But the GMC did not, and from the dealer or from the salesman, not available now, and likely not available in the near future.
So that goes through our must-haves and wants in the GM category. One of the things we are going to talk about in after each of the must-haves and wants is some interesting features that we found in the vehicles as we were going through them and test driving. So a couple of interesting features we found with the GM is the tailgate has 6 positions, and we do have video of that we can show. I don't know all the 6 positions, but there are 6 positions for the tailgate. And something else we found very interesting is that when you order the vehicle, you can order it with a bench seat in front or with a console in front, so that gives you the option of 6 or 5 passenger vehicle, which I didn't know was an option anymore.
Yeah, if you really want to sit like this in the car, you could. There's a button in the GMC that rolls down the back windows, all of the back windows all at once. So in the center console or near the center console, you can hit this button and all the windows go down. Really kind of a cool feature, except for when you want to roll up all the windows, you have to do them each individually. So I think GM would be better to like make that an up and down switch instead of just a down switch. But it's still an interesting feature.
And one thing we were super surprised we didn't know, the rear view mirror has an option to turn it into a camera, so it actually shows video of what's behind you rather than looking through the rear view mirror through your mirrors.
Yep. So the last interesting thing for Chevy is that they had this kind of storage in the rear seat, so you can pull the back of the seat here away, and there's storage behind, in the lumbar area. So that's kind of our Chevy GMC experience. And our next stop was Dodge. So Dodge in general, I will say I was highly impressed with. Like I wasn't unimpressed with Chevy GMC, but Dodge I was more impressed than I thought I was going to be.
All right, so Dodge, the towing capacity, it did have the capacity, but only in the V8. The back seat did fold up, and it did give you a flat back seat area. And then it does have the capability for 4-wheel drive.
So yeah, so 4-wheel drive. Again, I don't remember seeing a multi-terrain select in the Dodge, and I haven't seen it online. That doesn't mean it doesn't exist, but I didn't see it there. Dodge has a moonroof. It is a panoramic moonroof. So you get that big wide open area above you with a lot of light coming into the vehicle. Dodge does have a large entertainment or infotainment screen. It is portrait, so it's a little odd, but not a big deal. It does not have wireless CarPlay, though it does have a wired CarPlay option, which is okay, like as long as it has the CarPlay. But wireless CarPlay is on one of our must-haves, so it's something we certainly will have to consider for that vehicle. Dodge does have a power rear window as well. It's a small square window in the back that will open for air to move through.
It did have the integrated brake controller and the saved memory seat positions. For Dodge, they save 2 seat positions. You get the seats, the mirrors, and Dodge has the movable pedals, so it also saves that. And you can link to the key fob, so pending who unlocks the doors, it will move the seats to that person's position.
And then Dodge for driver assist features has adaptive cruise control, lane keep assist, front and rear parking assist features, as well as a kind of a cool feature is a heads up display. So it will actually display your speedometer and important information on the windshield, so you don't have to look down to the gauge cluster. So that's kind of a neat thing. Dodge does not include any self-driving features. Can't find anything online about it, and the salesman was unaware of anything that was coming in the near future.
So Dodge does have trailer backup assist. The button, the knob, is in a little bit of an inconvenient location. It is more in the middle of the console rather than closer to the driver, so it's a little bit of a reach to turn the knob, but they do have that capability.
All right, interesting features about the Dodge. And if you see us looking around while I have video up, it's because we have dogs roaming in this area. Interesting features of the Dodge. First was that heads-up display. I think that's a really cool idea to have the important information displayed on the windshield so you don't have to look down all the time. I think that was really kind of an interesting one.
Yeah, the next thing they had was a compartment in the back seat on the floor, so it actually went under the floorboard. It was a compartment used for storage, and the salesman, two of them actually told us it could be used as an ice chest. It's not super big, but it would fit tools and that kind of stuff in there. And then it was closable, lockable to even with the floorboard. So
yeah. We already talked about the moving pedals, but we really like that feature in any vehicle. Neither of us is terribly tall, so a full-size truck, it's kind of nice to have those moving pedals to give you a little bit of distance from the wheel.
They also had some detailed stitching in the seats, which was pretty interesting.
The last interesting feature we have for the Dodge is that they also have that camera rear view mirror, which I think initially we thought, yeah, that's kind of an odd one. Actually, my boss has a Corvette. He's got it and it really likes it. Once we saw it actually we didn't get to see it in the GMC Sierra. We actually got to see it in a Buick something. But it actually gives you this really great view, and we think that's a great feature.
It's worth mentioning that of the two salesmen we talked to, neither one of them pointed it out, nor did they mention it as a feature. So it was something that we found on the internet a little bit later on. So it didn't seem like it was very widely known that this is a feature in the vehicle. For Dodge, you mean? For Dodge.
Yep. All right, so moving on to Toyota, and as I think we've both kind of said earlier in the video, Toyota's a fan favorite for us. We both have Toyotas currently. I started driving Toyotas in 2008 when I lived in Dubai, and fell in love with them, and I think the quality is really good. We're going to talk through the Tundras that we drove. First up is towing capability. No doubt we could get our towing capability out of the V6 twin turbo and the hybrid motor on the Tundra. Neither of them would have any issues whatsoever.
Yep. So the back seat was a little bit of a disappointment. The seat did fold up, but there is a console there that is not removable. And so for the dogs, for what we're looking for, it takes up half of the back seat. So while it's a nice storage area, we would like that full flat back seat, which the Tundra did not have.
And in the hybrid, you even lose that storage capacity because the batteries and everything are right there. Four-wheel drive, not only four-wheel drive, but a multi-terrain select. So slippery surfaces, mud, dirt, whatever, you can choose through some of those as well.
Toyota did have a very nice panoramic moonroof. We liked that.
Absolutely. So we're going to talk about the infotainment or the entertainment system in the Toyota. It does support wireless CarPlay, but here's a big downside to the Toyota that either we didn't see on any of the other vehicles, or we weren't informed of, or it doesn't exist. Every feature within the navigation and all that kind of stuff within the Toyota system, A, requires a phone connection, and B, requires a subscription to their service. No one else brought this up as part of their vehicle. Toyota let us know because we couldn't play with anything because it wasn't hooked up. Essentially that without a subscription, you would have no access to their maps. You would have to use the CarPlay maps. And while I use CarPlay a lot, it's certainly nice to have a built-in navigation feature as well.
Ooh, I feel like I get some good ones on this one. So Toyota has a power window, but not only does it have a power window, the entire back glass rolls down, which is so exciting. Everyone else has just kind of a square, and their entire rear window rolls down all the way. It's amazing.
So yeah, hands down, Toyota wins on that category. It does have an integrated brake control, so that's a big positive for us. And then save seating positions. It has 2 save seating positions, and it moves the seats and mirrors on the Toyota.
It did not have any trailer backup assist as an option.
Not that we could find, yeah.
For the driver assist features, it has adaptive cruise, the lane keep, it does not have the ability for self-drive right now, nor did they really mention that in our test drives. So moving over to some more interesting features that we found in the Toyota. In their redesign, Toyota created a little bit of a flat surface, storage surface on the console in the middle. Nick and I weren't exactly a fan of it, but it might work for some people. So it was a little bit interesting, whereas most people, the console is flat. This one had a little bit of a surface to it.
It's like a tray.
A tray.
Yep. They pointed out the 360 overhead cam, so you can hit a button and it gives you a 360 view of the vehicle and it kind of pans around it. Kind of a neat feature. I don't know about the usefulness of that, except for in a kind of stopped position.
The next thing that Toyota offers is the bed rail system, which Nick has in his Tacoma and really likes because you can move the tie downs around. And that's pretty neat that it's already included in the bed of the truck, whereas for other vehicles, it's just an add-on.
And the last interesting thing from a Toyota perspective is the TRD Pro package makes a very capable off-road vehicle, as well as giving you the tow capacity and everything else that we needed. And one of the nice things about the TRD Pro package is you literally say, I want a TRD Pro, and you get what you get. It doesn't look like there's any real add-on features that you can do with the TRD Pro. So they're not nickel and diming you on every little thing. It's just give me the package. Last up, we went to Ford. It was the last on our list because I think we both thought that Ford wouldn't be able to offer all of the features, but they were very competitive with the other three brands. Tow capacity, starting with the V6 EcoBoost, you can absolutely tow both trailers that we were, like the one that we have and the one that we would want, but then you can also go to the hybrid and still have that tow capability for what we're looking at.
Mm-hmm. The back seat folds up and locks into position. It offers a flat floor surface, but then there's also a storage area that you can fold up to use for storage. So very similar to what we did see in the Tundra and Dodge.
Yes.
But this folds down so you can have the flat surface if needed. So you kind of get best of both worlds on that one.
Yeah, it like collapses down, so you don't have to take it out. It just collapses down. It has 4x4 as well as a multi-terrain select. One of the cool things about the Ford, and I can't say that I know this about the Toyota, is when you choose a specific multi-terrain mode, it'll actually flip over into four-wheel drive. The electronic controlled four-wheel drive will actually just change over when you do that. You don't have to go to that thing and then choose four-wheel drive, or choose four-wheel drive and then the thing. My Toyota currently, to do any of the multi-terrain select, you have to be shifted into four-wheel drive to begin with.
Ford did have a glorious panoramic moonroof, which was very nice to see as well.
Very similar to the Toyota.
Yep.
Huge panoramic, gives you a ton of light inside, and then the visor can kind of go halfway or all the way back. The infotainment or entertainment system has a very large screen, as well as wireless CarPlay. One of the things that I did not see on Ford that I did see on Dodge is a lot of the controls for the climate control and things like that are inside the screen. Ford has kept that separate, so they are separate buttons. It's not controllable from the screen.
Yeah. So while it did have this huge, enormous, glorious panoramic moonroof, the back window is the smallest little square. So it does have a back window and it does open, but it was the smallest of the four.
I believe it was, yeah, the smallest of the four. Integrated brake control system for the trailer, not an issue there. Nice to have for sure.
Ford does have 3 save seat positions, and the seat memory controls the seats, the mirrors, the pedals, and the steering column. As well as, from what the salesman told us, it will save the radio settings and the favorites and that kind of stuff from the infotainment center. This one also does connect to the keys, so whoever unlocks the doors, it will automatically adjust to those settings.
Yeah, and one of the things with the Ford as well, with the seat position and everything, when you get in the car, whoever it's connected to, because it's got a digital gauge cluster, I could choose what I wanted. Emily could choose what she wanted. When you get in the car, it also changes that. So if Emily doesn't care about the tach, I don't know if you could actually get rid of that, but if you didn't care about the tachometer, you could actually just make that go away and put whatever you wanted to there. And it would remember that when you got in the vehicle. Ford does have a trailer backup assist. It is basically right to the right of the steering wheel, so you don't have to reach for it. It's in a pretty good location. We were looking at actually some of the training on it on YouTube. It does require some additional equipment be installed on the trailer itself. It looks like now it is physical equipment versus, I think in the past Ford has done it with like a sticker array that tells the vehicle where it is.
For the driver assist, it does have the adaptive cruise, the lane keep assist, and then Ford also this year released the Blue Cruise self-driving, so it's available on most major highways. There is a fee. For what we understand, it's about $600 for 3 years for that service if your vehicle is equipped with it.
So we're getting to the end here. We're going to go over the kind of the interesting features of the Ford F-150. So the first one on the list, and it's something we've already talked about with Dodge, is the movable pedals. For people that are a little bit shorter and going into a full-size truck, it's kind of nice to have that option. I think when the first vehicle we got in that had it, we kind of looked at it and went, meh, but it worked really well.
Yeah, it lets you sit a little bit further away from the steering wheel, but still reach the pedals. Next up is a trailer weight scale. So I thought this was quite interesting. Ford, with certain towing packages, you have the option of a trailer weight scale. As you connect the trailer on the brake lights, there's a scale of lights that go up and down to tell you how heavy you are, but then also inside on the instrument panel, it will tell you the weight.
On the infotainment screen, yeah.
It'll tell you the weight, and then not only with trailers, but you said with loading the back of the vehicle as well.
So anything in the bed of the trailer. I think it's the overall vehicle itself. So even myself getting into the driver's seat will tell me how much of the payload is used. The next one was the work surface, which I think both of us kind of blew off as a feature that wasn't interesting to us. But as long as the vehicle is not moving or has the capability of moving, so you have to be in park, you can fold down the gear shifter, and you can actually fold the center console forward to give you a flat surface next to you to work on. Which is, I think, why we blew it off.
Right.
Next interesting feature for Ford was power tailgate, but up and down. They were the only of the 4 manufacturers that told us they had that capability. So again, they may have that capability, but not a single salesman told us that they could. Only Ford let us know that on certain trims, you can not only release the tailgate from the key fob, you can also bring it up from the key fob.
And wrapping up is the most interesting feature of all, I believe. It is a technology that has been around since the early 90s, if not the 80s. So Ford has the Secure Code keypad, which gives you the keyless entry into the truck. No other manufacturer has it or is developing it at the moment. You can access the truck with a simple code. I mean, we have it in our front door, we have it all over the place, and Ford's the only one that has it in their trucks. So we do know that the other manufacturers, as well as Ford, do have like apps that you can lock and unlock, but sometimes you don't necessarily want to bring your phone with you.
Yeah. So that's all the vehicles that we drove, that we test drove and went and looked at and researched online. We have not purchased a vehicle as of today. I think I mentioned that a little while ago. In about a month, I think we'll do an update video on where we are with the purchasing of a vehicle and what that looked like.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching.
Thank you.